Welcome back to another deep dive on Canada Immigration Daily. Today, we're tackling a pressing issue that's been making headlines and stirring conversations among international students, policymakers, and educators alike. Our topic is inspired by a video titled, "We Came Here with a Dream for a Good Life. International Students in Canada Could Face Deportation." It's a compelling and emotionally charged subject that highlights the growing challenges international students face in Canada. Canada has long been celebrated as a destination for international students. It's known for its quality education system, opportunities for skilled work, and pathways to permanent residency. These promises have drawn students from across the globe, creating a rich and diverse student community. But recently, this image has been called into question. What happens when the dream of a better life is overshadowed by the threat of deportation? What does it mean when students, after investing their life savings and making countless sacrifices, find themselves in legal limbo? Today, we'll explore these questions and more. Why Canada attracts international students. Before we dive into the challenges, it's worth understanding why Canada has become a top choice for international students. World-class education. Canadian institutions rank among the best globally, offering a wide range of programs in technology, healthcare, engineering, and more. Affordable tuition. Compared to other popular destinations like the US or the UK, Canada's tuition fees are relatively lower, making it an attractive option. Post-graduation opportunities. Through programs like the Post-Graduation Work Permit, PGWP, and Express Entry, Canada has historically provided clear pathways for students to gain work experience and transition to permanent residency. Cultural diversity. Canada's multicultural society ensures that students from all backgrounds feel welcome and included. Global reputation. Canada's reputation as a safe and progressive country further solidifies its appeal. These factors have contributed to Canada's success in attracting international students, but recent changes threaten to undermine this reputation. What has changed? The video highlights two major policy shifts that have made life significantly harder for international students. Stricter eligibility for PGWPs. The PGWP program was once seen as a straightforward bridge for students to gain Canadian work experience after graduation. Now, stricter criteria have made it harder for many students to qualify, leaving them in precarious situations. For example, students who study in shorter programs or non-designated institutions may no longer qualify, reducing their chances of staying and working in Canada. Caps on international student enrollment. The Canadian government has introduced annual caps on the number of international students who can enroll in programs. While this is intended to manage resources, it has limited opportunities for aspiring students. The human impact. These changes aren't just numbers on a policy document. They're deeply personal and life-altering. The video shares several heartbreaking stories. One student invested $36,000 to study biotechnology, a field where skilled professionals are in high demand. Now, despite completing his education, he faces deportation due to visa complications. Another student, an automotive technician, was unable to renew his work permit and is now stuck on a visitor visa. Without legal status, he can't work and has no access to social services. These stories are just the tip of the iceberg. They reveal the emotional and financial toll on students who came to Canada with high hopes, only to have their futures thrown into uncertainty. Broader implications. The fallout from these changes extends beyond individual students. They also affect Canada's economy, education system, and global reputation. Impact on educational institutions. Colleges and universities are feeling the effects of declining international enrollment. Sheridan College, for instance, has suspended 40 programs and laid off staff due to lower student numbers. With fewer international students, institutions lose a critical source of funding, which could lead to reduced program offerings and quality. Workforce challenges. International students represent a significant pipeline for skilled workers in fields like technology, healthcare, and engineering. Fewer graduates mean fewer professionals to fill critical roles, potentially impacting Canada's long-term economic growth. Global competition for talent. Other countries, such as Australia and Germany, are offering clearer and more stable pathways to residency for international students. If Canada doesn't adapt, it risks losing out on top talent to competitors. Student protests and demands. Despite these challenges, international students are not staying silent. Across Canada, they're organizing protests, holding rallies, and engaging with policymakers to demand change. Some of their key demands include extending work permits from the current 3 years to 5 years, allowing more time to gain Canadian work experience and transition to permanent residency. Restoring trust. Ensuring the government honors its original promises of clear and fair pathways to permanent residency. Policy reforms. Advocating for simpler and more transparent immigration processes. Students are also exploring legal avenues to challenge these changes, seeking injunctions to delay deportations and push for reforms. Government response. The Canadian government, led by Immigration Minister Mark Miller, has defended these changes. They argue that stricter policies are necessary to manage immigration levels, address economic pressures such as housing shortages, ensure that immigration benefits all Canadians. However, this approach has also sparked criticism. Many argue that these changes erode trust and contradict Canada's reputation as an inclusive and welcoming country. The ethical and economic debate. This issue isn't just about policy, it's also about ethics. When international students choose Canada, they do so based on certain expectations. Changing the rules midway feels like a betrayal, undermining the trust that has been built over decades. Economically, limiting international students could be counterproductive. They contribute billions to the Canadian economy, not just through tuition fees, but also through spending on housing, food, and other services. What's next? The situation remains fluid, but one thing is clear. This conversation is far from over. Students, educators, policymakers, and citizens must come together to find a balanced solution, one that supports both international students and Canada's long-term goals. What do you think about these changes? Should Canada reconsider its policies to ensure it remains a top destination for international students? Let us know in the comments. Before you go, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Canada Immigration Daily. Your support helps us continue bringing you in-depth discussions on critical topics like this. Thank you for tuning in. Stay informed, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next deep dive.